If I had $1 for every time someone said you'll figure it out, I would be a legitimate multi-millionaire. You know, over the past decade, maybe even longer than that, every conversation I've ever had with various people, they've always ended up in you'll figure it out. But nothing has ever changed, you know. What they mean by this when they say you'll figure it out, first off, it's just a bot response. But what they mean by this is you're probably fucked and beyond saving. So I'm just going to say you'll figure it out so you don't get depressed. That's what they mean, because nothing has changed in my life. Still same old me, same old hearing the you'll figure it out, bro. You know, I saw my cousin and her husband yesterday. We had this like tiny family gathering at our house, like an after Christmas party because they couldn't come, you know, during Christmas because they got sick. And man, oh man, first off, they're both going into therapy. I shit you not. You know, they're both vegan. Her husband has a female voice. I don't know how. They're both height matched, looks matched, and they're just nuts. They're both going into therapy. The whole night they wouldn't shut the fuck up about diversity, equality, all this shit. It's like, okay, like enough. You know, they're all like, oh, we go to protests every day. We're so much better than you guys. We go to protests every day. We're always active in the community. Diversity, equality, gender stuff. It's like, okay. You know, I heard it the first time. You know, I heard it the first time, man. You know, and her husband told me, at the end, he's like, oh, you'll figure it out. He's like, I know someone who's 60 years old and he became a doctor at 60. And it's like, well, first off, who would want to be a doctor at 60 years old? You got to be delusional. That's usually around the time you want to retire. And it doesn't look like I want to be a doctor at 60 years old. You know, how is saying that shit helping me? You know, seriously, like, you'll figure it out, bro. I know someone who, you know, was like a late bloomer. He became a doctor at 60 years old. And keep in mind, they're only like a year or two older than me, I think. Yeah, I think I want to say 2 years maybe. I don't fucking know. Both going for their masters right now. Highly intelligent, by the way. Very, very intelligent. Here's the thing. I've never seen people so smart, yet so stupid in my life. They have the social awareness of a gnat, but they're so book smart, you know. But they have the personalities of wet dish rags. They talk like literal robots, you know, like actual robots. It's actually insane. And can you believe, like, her husband, before they got here, somehow this motherfucker, I don't know how I really don't. You know how these cars now, they have like this electric shit where they have the key fob. You don't need to like put the key in anymore. Somehow he started the car, walked back inside with the key fob, left it somewhere, came back out, just completely fucking oblivious to the message on the fucking dashboard saying it was missing the fucking key fob, you know, beeping. Completely in oblivion, drove over to our house without the key fob, and then he had to get it towed at the end, you know, when they were going home, he had to get it towed back, and it's just like, what the fuck, you know? How do you forget that shit, you know? I don't know, that's just, I don't know, and the amount of shit, like, the shit that they were telling us, it just, like the stories they were telling, they just have, like, no social awareness, like, they're just weird, like, I don't know how to explain it, guys, it's just, like, they're not street smart in the slightest at all. And I don't know, man. They're just on a whole nother level. And you better believe I was asking them so many questions about therapy. You know, I asked them, is there a script that you got to give? You know, like you're an actor. Like whenever these people say something, you're like pre-programmed to spew out this line. And they're like, yeah, you know, if someone says X, I say Y. Someone says this, I say this. You know, there's definitely scripts, if you want to call it. There's things you have to say. But it's usually, for the most part, empathy, advice, repeat. Empathy, advice, repeat. And it's like, oh my God. Like, Jesus Christ. You know, those are your few. And this is what made me laugh. My cousin, you know, she said she's seeing a therapist right now because she has a lot of problems. Yet she's going into therapy as, you know, to work as a therapist. I just burst out laughing. They're just kind of looking at me. They didn't really like laugh. They just were looking at me. I'm like, how the fuck do you not find that hilarious? You know, you want to become a therapist, yet you're seeing one right now for your problems. You know, I just find that kind of ironic and funny, if you ask me. But that's another thing. Like, how can these people be therapists? You know, they both got tattoos all over the place. Just, it's just like a different world now, man. Like, it really is. The future of psychology, and this is another thing. They were both, because they're both doing internships. They're watching, like, they're in the room while, like, real psychologists, or therapists, do therapy. And they're telling us, telling me and my mom, they're like, yeah, usually a majority, whenever the psychologists, whenever they try to empathize with the patients always get agitated, angry, enraged, or go berserk. And it's like, no shit. Like I said, like, that shit always comes across as gaslighting, because, like, no patient, no therapist is going to understand what the patient's going through. It's just going to come across as gaslighting bullshit, Then they're like, gaslighting, that's a good term. I didn't think of it like that. It's like, whatever. But, like, I also asked, I was like, are there people who go into therapy that cannot be saved no matter what you do? No matter what you do, because obviously there's no therapy for your hairline. There's no therapy for your face. There's no therapy for your height. And I told them, I'm like, are there people who cannot be saved no matter what? And they're like, no, everyone can be changed. Everyone can be helped. If they're coming to therapy, it's a start. It's possible. It's like, oh boy, man, oh man, and they're also saying too, and this is what had happened to me. This is the reason why I was scared of therapists, especially when I was younger, because I've been to a psych ward twice. When I was younger, there's this therapist. Well, anyway, this is what I was gonna say. Never mind. Let me get to that in a second. But my cousin said you have to report every negative thing they say to, like, people, like the authorities, just anyone, any, like, negative thoughts. You have to report, like, anything, no matter what, or else you can lose your license, get sued, anything. So it's a must to report everything. And this is what had happened to me when I was, like, 13. I saw this therapist lady. I think I saw two that year. I saw this one lady I played Uno with, and then I saw another one the next year. And this lady, I said I was feeling I didn't say I was gonna, like, because obviously I was just depressed, guys. I said I'm feeling suicidal. I just wanted attention. I said I'm feeling suicidal. I'm really depressed. And next thing you know, I'm in an ambulance. Don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I'm just getting, like, they're just like, oh, you have to come with me. And I'm just like, okay. Like, I'm 13. And I'm in an ambulance. Then I get to the psych ward. They're pumping me with shit. I don't know what's going on. Like, seriously, that event traumatized me. It's like, why trust someone, like, when they have your life in their fucking hands? Seriously. And the whole time when I was there at the psych ward when I was 13, they're like, why are you here? You're normal. Why are you here? There's no reason for you to be here. They're trying to discharge me as soon as possible. And that whole event really traumatized me. It's like, why would you trust someone like that? It's like, man, oh man. But, yeah, they're both going into therapy, and it's just like, is this going to be the future of this is my opinion. I mean, you could do whatever you want. You go to therapy, do whatever you want. Don't go. But all of these therapists that I've talked to that are going into the field, it just sounds like a load of shit. It really does. To me at least. I mean, what the fuck? Just a script, empathize, advice, repeat. It's like, that's stupid. Anyone can do that, It's just ridiculous. They're getting paid the big bucks for that shit. And it's funny and it's so funny, like, at the end, they're like, oh, well, what's your dreams? What's your strengths? What's your, what do you want to do in life? And I'm like, nothing. I'm not good at anything. Like, I suck. And my mom was like, oh, that's not true. You're good at, and she couldn't even say anything. And then they kept saying, oh, you'll figure it out over and over, like, at least 100 times. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It's like, nothing ever comes out of that. Every time someone ever says you'll figure it out, I'm just like, yep, I lost them. Like, they lost me. Like, they just know I'm fucked. Because when people start telling you, you'll figure it out, you're fucked. You really are so fucked. When people say, you'll figure it out, bro, they mean you're fucked. Like, because that's how I interpret it. Because, like, they ran out of options to say to you. They ran out of things to say, so they're like, shit. You'll figure it out. That's how it works. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That you'll figure it out, except you just don't. I've been stuck here for the past decade. Nothing has changed, It's crazy. It's crazy shit. You know, and if people think I'm fucked up, just look at these two who are going into becoming therapists, you know? Crazy shit. Even I'd make a better therapist. Crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much it.